Hello, good evening, afternoon, where are we? I don't know, it's very bright outside where I am right now. Hey everybody, my name is Eugenio, also known as your friendly neighborhood dungeon master, DM Jazzy Hands, and I'm thrilled to be here with this fantastic group of people for Crituitous RP Presents the Half-Rate Heroes. Let's go around and introduce ourselves, let everybody know who we are and who we're playing today. Let's start with Carl.
Hi, I am Carl, and I'm playing Lafcadio Whitehorn, the Tabaxi Warlock.
Fantastic. I just realized I need to go do something. So go around, all of you introduce yourselves, and then one of you do a recap for the day, and I'll be right back. It's going well already.
Vinny.
Hi, Vinny. I'm going to be playing... Oh, who the hell? What's the name? Who am I?
Kale.
Kale Irvine. Half-elven cleric of Denier. And I'm throwing it over to John.
Hey, everybody. Sorry I was out last week. I was on family vacation, but I'm happy to be back. I will be playing Wampum Thunderbelly, your fighter battle master. And let's go over to Mr. Graham.
Oh man, let's see. My name is Graham. I play Taslin, your Shadarkai Necromancer Wizard. Every day, all day, or Sundays, I'm not sure. I'll throw it over to Casey.
Last but certainly not least, I am the champion of Tymora, Impaler of the Plains, heckler of Big Fire Chickens, and she who would fight the storm, Nos of Neverwinter! Bow, bow, bow!
Yeah, that was a great moment to come back in. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. All right, so it sounds like we didn't get to the recap, so who wants to do it this week? I'm going to go ahead and say not John, though I would be really amused by that.
I volunteer Carl.
I've made him do it for the last couple of weeks. There you go.
So, last week, the party sold the artifact that belonged to the Emerald Enclave back to the Emerald Enclave for the low price of free. But Kale still came out 2,000 gold short, as he actually had to offered to pay Taslin so that Taslin would not be upset. Wampum and Nos got fancy spike chains. Lots of drinking was done. But before the drinking was done, or after the drinking was done, at some point, we learned that the thing that happened below the Temple of the Seldarine was probably happening in 3 other temples. So after some drinking, we decided, because that's the best time to make decisions, where to go. And we will be going to the Spirit Soaring Temple of Denier in the Snowflake Mountains today. Additionally, Graham got in a bit of trouble with the law. Or Taslin got into trouble with the law. Graham was totally fine. Fine, upstanding citizen.
As far as we know, anyway.
Right. Is also buying a house in Waterdeep. And I think that's it. I think we are back in the morning. Taslin is out of jail. We are headed back to Falconmere because Jareth can give us the ability to tree stride to the forest of Shilmista, something like that, to get really close to our next destination.
That is correct, and when you recap it like that, it really doesn't sound like we got through much last week, does it? But we did. It was great. There was drinking to be had and trials to be tried. Yes, okay. So with that, unless anybody has anything else that they need to do, gods, please say no, before you head to Falconmere to chat with Jareth one last time before she sends you to the Shilmista Forest, that is where we shall begin. Anything else that needs to get done in Waterdeep? Oh, Vinny. Yes.
There was something, and I should have asked you this in a It's just a housekeeping thing. I was wondering if we could... I know that there's like a bunch of Gond people here that invent shit.
Oh, yeah.
And they have like a whole parade about it and stuff. I was wondering if we could pick up a set of the... I think it's called the Many-Handed Pouch, which is like one of the Artificer infusions where it's like a pouch, but it's regular sized. You get 5 of them. They share the same space.
Sure. That famous last words, but that doesn't seem too. That seems pretty harmless. Sure.
We'll see. I just wanted for communication. Like we could just write little notes to each other.
Yeah. They're absolutely, and they're they're artificer infusions. They're like maybe uncommon magic items. They're not super fancy.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the 5 of them, we'll call it 400 gold.
Okay. Chump change.
Get a discount for bulk.
Wait, shit. I added it. Okay, so I will distribute those out to everybody.
They don't pay you for taking them off their... The nimble rights, they might pay you for taking off their hands, but not those things.
No, well, God, can we get a nimble right?
No.
What if we ask real nicely?
You can have the one that blew up Troll Skull Manor a few months back, but while you all weren't there. He's a naughty one.
Are there, like, pieces left? Or no, he shot a necklace. I shouldn't say spoiler things.
Yeah, whoops. Shit. Spoiler alert for Waterdeep Dragonized.
How about the second battle axe that Wampum...
Oh, yeah, that can... Sure, yeah, we can... That's been completed with haste.
Okay, so I will go pick that up and pay for it.
Great. And I think you had already negotiated cost and everything with him, hadn't you?
Yes.
Great.
So DM, what battle axe is it?
I believe it was. You were looking for a +1? Is where we started, right? +2. Oh, that's right. You gave him your +1 to get it to a +2. Yes. Okay. So we'll go with that.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
And also, we need to get our mounts.
He's gonna want you to come back though and let him know how it performs, Wampum.
Aye.
And yes, you do need to get your mounts from wherever you left them. Where did you leave them?
At the
It's a rest
stables
stable.
by the gate.
Okay.
We'll go get Adra and Camilton Diaz.
Just every time I think I'm gonna forget about that. All right, and down to anything else?
Well, no.
All right, and down to Falconmere you head. So once you're down there, Melanor is waiting for you and greets you and brings you into a sort of a little bit tucked away back portion of the beautiful gardens of Falconmere, and takes you back, and in the center of this sort of it's not a hedge maze, but like there are like winding paths built into like various flower and herb beds and things like that. And sort of at the center of this beautiful sort of laid out garden area is this enormous oak tree that sits at the center of this area. And Melanor guides you there, and Jareth is there, and she greets you loudly so as not to surprise anyone, since she isn't visible. And she... She asks if you have any questions. If you are ready, she thanks you for being willing to go and continue this checking out these unsettling bits of news that she got from Mialiki. And just wonders if there's anything else before she casts her spell to send you through the giant oak tree to somewhere in the Shamista Forest.
I guess... Just to recap, what it is that we're being sent on is visit these 3 temples, and with the idea that something similar that what happened in the Temple of the Seldarine is what's happening to those 3 temples.
That's what it sounds like, yeah. And you know, if you all have a chance to go to all 3, fantastic. She, you know, now that she has sort of... she became sort of the like point of contact for all of this news, and so now that Mialiki and Sylvanas have sort of been able to put together the rumors that they've been hearing all in one place, there is a chance that others may be sent to go sort of check in on the other places, but she obviously trusts you all, having seen your work at the Temple of the Seldarine. So if you have a chance, she absolutely would love for you to check out all 3, but understands that for obvious reasons, you have certain priorities about which ones to go check out first.
Right. Also, missing from our recap, we interviewed a dead person.
Oh yeah,
I guess
moderately cooperative dead person.
I guess I'll share the details of that. It's like Jareth, we had a chat with one of them Shadowfell
right.
fellas, and he mentioned some things, and I share those things. One of them being that they serve a dark mistress who is not the Raven Queen, etc. The one true Queen of Darkness or something like that. Anything like that ring a bell to you?
She thinks for a moment, and she sort of says, there are a few possibilities, but frankly, none of them seem terribly likely, if I'm being honest. It feels... it feels almost a little cliche to think that it would be Shar. There are a few other options who haven't been seen around the Shadowfell for some time. I suppose any of them could have risen back to power, but I appreciate the news. I'll certainly pass it along and see if perhaps we can't get a lock on the activities of the few powers of darkness other than the Raven Queen that have been known to reside in and around the Shadowfell.
Did you know? Did you know that sometimes even mentioning the name of a deity gives them more power?
She sort of chuckles and she says, I know that well. I shouldn't say this because I'll almost certainly be proven wrong if I do, but one would hope that that particular Lady of Darkness whose name I just mentioned has been defunct for long enough that she poses, that one mention of her name poses little threat. But I suppose your point is well taken, Nos.
Well, then I don't know if I should say what I was going to say.
Now we're pushing the envelope.
She's called the Lady of Loss if you need to give her a title.
No, but talk about that. Then the corpse mentioned a name. It was Roland Eloro.
In what context was this name mentioned? It doesn't ring a bell. But
we were told to seek them out if we wanted to join their cause.
I'm sorry, to do what?
If we wanted to join whatever their cause is, we were told to seek out Roland Eloro.
Clearly, we would not be actually joining their cause. It would be an
Correct.
act of subterfuge, that sort of thing.
Was a location given for this Roland Eloro? Roland Eloro?
I don't
so.
think that there was
Didn't
a
they say
specific
go to the
one.
start?
I didn't write that part down.
Maybe
To-
not.
to
Maybe
the
I
what?
imagined this. The start? I don't remember. It was something cryptic.
That sounds very poetic, but no, I don't remember saying that.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Nope. It's not much to go on, but any small bit of information could prove useful. I'll look into it. I appreciate it. Kale?
Welcome.
Making a note to have Jezrin look into it.
Is everybody ready?
It seems you had a productive evening. Is there anything else before we begin?
No, I think I'm quite ready to leave.
Wampum is
Oh yeah? Why is that? Sorry, go ahead, Wampum.
Wampum is going to get 4 wineskins full of his Thunderbelly ale
Good idea.
for the road.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Filled to bursting.
Aye.
In fact, one of them does. If they overfill it, they have to give you a new one.
All right, okay. Jareth, you're going to send us to this forest, right?
Mm.
And we know the temple exists on a mountain.
Yes.
I feel like, and I look at Kale, I feel like that I mean, it's accurate, but it's not entirely helpful. I think we'll show up around a bunch of trees and we'll see a mountain, and somehow we got to find a temple on it. Do we have a better way?
Like a map?
I can fly. 2 of us can fly. I still have the Griffin. I have a figurine of Griffin that they've all seen. They know I have it.
She says, the best that I can do to help you is to say that the Snowflake Mountain Range lies east of the Shilmista Forest, and Spirit Soaring is in the location of the old Edificant Library, which was known to be in the southern end of that range, tucked away inside the mountains. Almost certainly finding it will be no easy matter, but I have no doubt that you all be able to manage it. Unfortunately, it has been some time since I was in the Shilmista Forest, and I can't guarantee exactly where I've left my mark enough to be sending you. So walk east-ish until you run into some mountains, and then walk south-ish until you run into a temple.
Speaking my language.
Wow, when you make me say it out loud, it really doesn't sound like much of a plan, does it?
It's plenty, and you are offering more help than anybody else that we know of could really give.
Well,
on short notice.
It is my destiny to serve those who will stop things, calamities such as this is the least I can do. Plus, being a chosen of Mieliki makes casting spells like this rather a breeze.
Right?
All right. Well, let's begin. And there's a little a knot in the center of the trunk of this enormous oak tree, and it begins to sort of glow and almost look like it's turning inside the trunk a little bit, and it begins to spin faster and faster and begin to expand, and eventually a sort of gateway opens in the plant, and you hear Jezrin's voice, Jezrin's voice. Yeah, was the first Jareth. Jezrin. There are two different NPCs. Jareth. Mm-hmm.
Is the invisible lady.
You hear Jareth's voice, sort of infused with power, say, "Quickly now. It doesn't last long."
Taslin and Camildon Diaz go right through in.
Just.
Yeah, me and Edra go.
All right.
Edra and I. English.
Common. Great. And presumably the rest of you follow. Stop me if that isn't true, but we're going to press forward. So you all head through. It's not like plane shifting. It's not like teleporting, both of which you all have experienced more than once, unless I miss my guess. This is... it's like being on a very, very long, very, very fast slide. You see all around you flashes of brown and green and white, and you occasionally sort of smell different woods and flowers and life plants, sort of loamy smells as you slide through this whatever it is, and eventually you find yourselves, as fun and undignified as the slide felt, so too is the exit on the other side of this transport via plants, where you all sort of find yourselves sliding out and into a heap on the ground in a beautiful, dense... I was like, oh god, is he okay? Oh no, he's doing a thing. Great, it's great. It's great. This beautiful, dense forest, just the barest bit of green dappled light getting through the canopy of these enormous trees with large, broad leaves on them. And hopefully it's the Shilmista Forest.
Well,
I roll into a tree.
Yeah.
I feel like Tazza probably falls off. Camildon Diaz just like slumps over the side. Well, at least we haven't been attacked by any hags. This is already 10 times better than the last time we went through a portal.
Well, give it a minute first. Shelve that optimism, bottle it, and just wait very cautiously before you let it out.
Duly noted.
I'm gonna... I want to cast spells now.
Now that we had a long day rest.
Good.
But I don't like any of these things that I have prepared. Okay, I'm just gonna alright, I'm gonna go for it, guys. And I'll get out the figurine of wondrous power in the shape of a bronze griffin.
Alrighty.
And Wampum covers his head.
That feels like a story, but that we'll deal with that later.
I will capsule corp it, onto the ground. Poof! It turns into a bronze griffin.
All right.
And I ask who wants to join me.
Pick me! Pick me! I want to go!
I mean,
Shocking.
first one to climb on, I guess. I
climb
can't.
on!
Okay.
I love it. Okay, so if you mount up, does the griffin have a name I shudder to ask?
No, it actually doesn't because it's like an
Great.
object. I didn't really.
I mean,
His name is
Guinevere had a
Griffin.
name. It's fine.
Yeah, so we just hop on and I just go up until I can see what I hope are some mountains that, like, maybe, because I scried on Spirit Soaring before,
Right.
so I'm looking for something vaguely familiar, I guess.
Yeah, so you get up, and you can get up pretty high, and you see the landscape of the Showmista Forest and the Snowflake Mountains below you. You realize that you are a little more than halfway. So the Showmista Forest is a relatively narrow, sort of long strip of forest going north to south that butts right up against the Snowflake Mountains. You're just above halfway up in the forest. So if you were meant to be in the southern end, you've got just over half the forest's worth of travel to go southwise. And you're about halfway left to right in the forest, so a much shorter half distance to get to the mountains. Does that make sense? It's not a very good explanation. I'm very tired. In terms of recognizing specific peaks or things in the mountains where Spirit Soaring might be, well, go ahead and make me... why not? Maybe you'll crit. Make me a wisdom perception check.
Hold on. Alright. I got a 19 on the roll. That would be, I believe, it's not a lot. Perception 25.
Okay. There are a few possibilities that I will say when you all get further south. If you have a chance, to check again, you will have advantage on your next perception check to try and find, or survival, whichever is better for you, to find your way to sort of triangulate where Spirit Soaring might be. But you're a little far off at this point to really get a good sense of anything exact. Whoops.
Single patch. Okay. Choose one of the patches determined at random. Okay.
Oh boy.
I will. That's at the fusion ends anyway. Anyway, I'll get a little scrap of paper and a pen. I guess I have a pen. I do have a pen. I bought a pen once.
Couldn't we just use our sending stones?
Once a day. So no, don't.
No.
Everybody in this party is so irresponsible about sending. All right, like, it's not. You can't just throw them around willy nilly.
I thought we had the data plan.
Look, no, you don't.
I pull out the sending stone. Kale, what do you see?
Phil thinks for a second about just chucking that particular sending stone down onto the ground. So angry. But he used it, so he'll be like,
started.
He'll see. So,
Might as well.
Mountains. I mean, could we see the mountains when we were in the forest? Do we need to tell them which direction the mountains are in?
No, actually, I don't think that you could. It's pretty dense forest, and you all are far enough from the edge of the forest that, yeah.
Okay, I'll say mountains to the east. We needed to go southeast, you said?
Yeah, ultimately you'll need to go southeast, yeah.
Alright, so start heading southeast, and Nos and I will find you once we locate the temple.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your cleric speaking.
What did he say, Lufkon?
He said we should head southeast, which is pretty much what Jarrett said. So I guess she did land us where she thought she would land us.
That's awesome. I'll use my sending stone to say 10-4, we understand moving southeast.
I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to respond to that.
I love it. Can I have everybody's passive perceptions quickly? Let's start with Kale.
16.
Nos.
10.
Lefcadio.
15.
Thank you. Wampum.
18.
And Taslin.
17.
Thank you very much. All right, carry on.
I start leading Camilton Diaz through the woods to the southeast, I guess.
Poor Camilton Diaz. This is clearly not her element.
Yeah.
I guess I'm riding Edra.
Cool. Yeah, she knows you. That's fine.
She wasn't about to get on that griffin, so or be carried by that griffin, even worse.
Ooh. We will start heading southeast over the mountains.
Okay. All right. So you all head south for the better part of an hour. It was fairly early in the day. You all went fairly early in the day to go meet with Jareth. So got a good bit of daylight left today to be able to travel. You start heading south, and after about an hour, let me have all of you make either wisdom perception or wisdom survival checks, please. Your choice. Just let me know what it is.
10 survival.
Yeah.
18 perception.
Okay.
1 perception.
Oh, yes. I love it.
13 perception.
Okay.
I got a 10.
Butterfly.
All right. Y'all are killing it. Okay. In that case, at Haslin's feet, suddenly appears an arrow.
So it's shot from somewhere nearby.
It is shot from somewhere.
I will call out in Elvish. We're friends, we mean no harm. We're on a mission from Mileki.
Nope.
I don't know.
Bless you.
Good. Yeah. Bless you. Great. Okay. At that, I need all of you to make strength saving throws, please. All of you on the ground, not the two of you up in the air.
I should probably be
natural
making it for
one for
Camilton
me.
Diaz.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, let me roll for
You probably should make one for Diaz and for Endra.
Edra.
Edra.
Can
That's a
I
10.
use you know what? I'm going to use my Indomitable
Do it. Why not?
and re-roll that.
7 strength
Yeah.
save for Lopkadio.
That's the last time I go with
Taslin
dialogue. I should have opened up with a fireball. But I rolled a 10 for Camilton Diaz, and I have an 8 for Taslin.
And a 20 on a re-roll.
Okay, and Edra? Kale?
Oh, it was a strength save. 14.
Okay. All right, so all of you, except for Wampum, who is held for a moment and then bursts free of these grasping, ensnaring, entangling vines that begin to grow from the ground underneath you all, as a voice from somewhere in the trees, though it's difficult to pinpoint exactly where, says, you'll need to do better than that to prove that a Shadar Kai dog is, in fact, an ally of ours.
That's fair.
I mean, I got nothing for that. Like, Taz like just shrugs. He's like, yeah, well.
Oh, wait. I am on a mission from Nabanian, the Lion King.
In theaters in 5 days. Another arrow sort of sprouts up just behind Taslin, and that same voice from somewhere slightly different in the forest says, "Prove it."
Is it a female or male voice?
Yes.
So they're just saying "prove it" over and over and shooting arrows at us and missing?
Well, not. You're making a lot of assumptions here, and I don't like all of them.
Okay, so the tentacles, are they grabbing us? What's going on with
Okay,
those?
they are not tentacles. They
Right,
are
I was just
vines.
thinking of casting it.
They're just holding you. They're not hurting you. They're just holding you in place, and you
okay.
can, in fact, choose
Can
to
I
make
just
more
cast
strength
Dimension
saves.
Door and like teleport out of them?
Is excessive, but you live your life. The voice just says, "Prove it."
Wampum is walking
Chasm?
away,
Yeah.
away from everybody,
Uh-huh.
and trying to get a bead on where these voices are coming from.
Yeah, make a wisdom perception check, Wampum. They did not notice you sort of sneaking off there.
19.
Yeah. So you managed to catch that. You're not sure where the voice is coming from, but you do sort of notice now that you've got, a heads up that someone is around. You spot a couple of wood elves up in trees sort of surrounding where you all have been walking, and they're incredibly well hidden, and they've all got longbows knocked, but none of them are sort of moving. They're just sort of very, very still and watching the party. But in terms of where exactly the voice is coming from, you can sort of get a general direction, but you can't get a beat on whoever's talking.
I'm going to just stop, and I'm going to watch the ones that I have a bead on. And if they make a offensive maneuver, I'm launching the battle axe.
Sounds good.
The blast axe.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So Tazlin, if he's able to, will hold his hands up, and he'll go, I understand. Oh man, I hate dealing with people like this. Why am I the one talking? I am on a quest from the Raven Queen to kill some rebel Shadar Kai. I understand your mistrust, but my friends and I mean no harm. Believe me when I say that.
You actually said something that sort of piqued their interest. So go ahead and make a charisma persuasion check with advantage, please.
It won't help me. But...
I know.
Alright. That was persuasion?
Mm-hmm.
That's a 10. With advantage.
Hey, Wampum, roll me percentile, please.
Percentile.
Yeah. Under 50 or under, you will see a thing.
Roll. 69.
69. Okay, so you are keeping a close eye on. Oh my god, you. I'm disappointed in myself though. Clearly, like it has been a day, and clearly I'm not totally there because I would have left too. What? You don't. So you're watching these elves. You don't see a single one of them move. But. Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, Tazlin, does a 22 hit you?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
All right, so you hear Tazlin let out a little yelp as an arrow sprouts all of a sudden from his arm, dealing him 6 points of piercing damage. But it wasn't any of the elves that you were watching, Wampum.
Well, that was quite rude.
What do you mean, prove it? I'm a lion man. Is that... I mean, it seems like it's not a stretch, I don't think. I mean, I'm not with the Raven Queen, or else I'd be a Raven Man, maybe.
Please no Kenku. The voice says, the Shadar-kai does keep strange company. Why are you here, Lion Man?
We're just passing through. A chosen of Mialiki sent us through the trees. We're heading to the Snowflake Mountains. We hear there's some trouble brewing at the Spirit Soaring Temple. So we're just heading from here to there. We want no trouble with you.
I also expect an apology for being shot.
Unlikely. You will hold while I confirm your story. And there's a moment of silence. And about a minute later, the voice returns, assuming you have all been patiently waiting, and says, the trees say that indeed you and several others arrived of late. Through them, Perhaps you are who you say. What guarantee do we have that you will not attempt the atrocities that the other Shadarkai attempted?
Firstly, we don't know what they attempted, so I think of all possibilities, it's unlikely we choose the same thing that they chose. Just mathematically speaking.
There's so many atrocities to choose from.
But secondly, I mean, it sounds like you've partially at least corroborated our story. I don't know what else I can say. I have powers granted to me by Lord Firemane, and I can demonstrate those powers. However, they are quite potent, and he uses me as an instrument to punish evildoers often. I don't think you guys mean to be evil or anything like that, so I don't want to use these powers on you.
I'll take a charisma perception. That was compelling.
Persuasion.
Because that's what I meant. Sorry, yes, thank you. Charisma persuasion. Words, I almost did it again, y'all.
It's a sweet 14.
All right, that is an improvement. So the voice sort of lets out a sigh, and the vines holding you all in place drop away from you and sort of bury themselves back in the ground. And a rather impressive giant elk walks out of a stand of trees not too far from where you are and sort of looks at each of you and then turns, begins to walk off into the forest, looks back at each of you, sort of flicks its head, and then begins to walk off again.
Does that mean he wants us to follow him?
He's lucky I don't launch a fireball at him. I yank out the arrow and put it in my saddlebag and go, I'm keeping this.
The elk definitely heard that, Taslim, because the elk definitely rolled a 19 plus a lot on its perception. So it turns around and let's see. It turns around and sort of huffs in your general direction, and a little flower sort of sprouts out of your pouch as you try to put the arrow in there, and sort of blocks your access momentarily to the pouch.
Yeah, I'll fidget with that while following.
Guys, I think
okay.
This is their home.
If you recall, sorry, go ahead, Lefkadi.
This is their home. They're probably just defending it. I'm sure they don't mean us any harm. Obviously, they're just going to be mistrustful of outsiders, and we certainly don't look like we're locals. So we just play it cool. I can do the talking if you want.
Oh, that would be most delightful. I'd prefer not to get shot with an arrow again.
You got it, mate.
All right, now the two of you that are up on the griffin in the air, things have gone quiet. They've stopped. If you really flew down and wanted to take a look at what was going on, you could, but just casually sort of flying above them, it's hard to get a good beat on what's happening below the tree line.
Yeah, we're just chilling.
Great.
Just having a good time.
Having a good time on Nameless Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
Great. All right.
I'm interested. What are you guys chatting about?
I would like to know, Kale, this is the place that we're going is supposed to be a temple to Daenerys himself, right? You said as much.
Yep.
What do you know about it?
And Agma.
I just know that one of Daenerys' chosen built it, and at one point, a lot of bad things happened there, and the chosen that created the temple isn't on this plane anymore.
That's fine. We've been not
That's
on this
pretty
plane
accurate.
before. So that's to say that the Chosen is still alive.
I
don't
have
know.
no idea.
Man,
How
I'm
long
speaking.
ago was this?
How long ago was this? 100 years, give or take. A little bit less, I think, but
Yeah, Kale knows that.
I'm sure he does. Actually, Kale, why don't you roll me an intelligence, history, or religion check?
I wonder if the bonus is the same for both of those. Boy, is it not. I'm going to do history.
History's better than religion for the
God,
cleric?
yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
boy.
He's booky. He's all booksy.
It's true.
So that's it's only 21.
It's only 21. All right. You do know a fair bit about spirit soaring. So, yes, everything you said is correct. It was built sort of near the site of an old library dedicated to Ogma and Denier, the Edificant Library. There all sorts of things happen. At one point there was an old cult of Talona, the Lady of Poison, evil goddess up in the north of the mountains. They attacked the I think it was still the library at that point. They attacked the library with a very dangerous chaos curse at one point. Eventually, yes, Cadderly Bonaduce, the Chosen of Denier, used his very life force to create spirit soaring. Once it was completed, his life force was sort of returned to him for the moment. But then as the temple came under attack by various forces during some orc wars, he discovered that his life force was tied to that of the temple. Eventually, he needed to. It's a very convoluted story, but there was a big battle, and there was something called the Ghost King, which was some sort of undead dragon thing that came to attack Spirit Soaring, and so in order to protect the material plane from this dead dragon, Cadderly himself powers the wards around Spirit Soaring, tying off and making crossing from the Shadowfell to the material plane in that area impossible, effectively imprisoning the Ghost King somewhere there. He's of both worlds and of neither, so no one's really sure if he's still technically alive or what the deal there is, but anyway.
Yep, so just some bad stuff. Bad
like,
Shadowfell.
Basically what you said.
Yeah.
Do you tell the story?
I was kind of thinking like he wouldn't know like that much detail, I think, to the whole story. He would just know that there was some Shadowfell related entity, and that there was I think at one point there was like a summoning circle in there that like summoned stuff from like the abyss and shit.
It was not great.
Yeah, just some. You would know in very general terms what happened, but not specifically that the Ghost King and this and that. But,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, but definitely about Catterley, because he's
right.
rather well regarded among the clerics of Denier and the faith for his sacrifice. So that stuff about him probably as well. Great. All right, so the three of you down on the five of you, excuse me, with Hamilton Diaz and Edra. Five of you follow this giant elk, majestic elk. For some ways, and eventually you begin to see, and Wampum, you're able to see them sort of the whole time following you, those elves that you were keeping your eyes on. You can see that they sort of come with you, leaping nimbly through the trees and such and the underbrush silently. But as you travel with them for a while, Taslan and Lefcadio, you begin to also catch sight of them, likely because they're letting you, to see that you have a bit of an entourage, a bit of a, well, we'll be generous and call it an honor guard, following you and pacing you as you go to wherever it is that this elk is leading you, which eventually becomes clear as you come out on a clearing in the middle of the woods. There's a little stream running through the center, a couple of sort of boulder, the banks of the stream doesn't quite do it justice, but river is too big, somewhere in between there, and some boulders sort of on the banks of this body of water, where stands the elk that you are following, who very slowly begins to sort of shrink and change until after a few moments before you stands another wood elf dressed in green and brown robes carrying a rather large staff.
Neat. Hi, I'm Lafcadio Whitehorn, aspiring chosen of Nabanian, working on it. These are my friends. This is Taslin Embryo and Wampum Thunderbelly, and we're on a mission to protect or save the Spirit Soaring Temple from evil entities. I don't know how much of you caught that before, because I don't remember talking to an elk, but just making sure we're all on the same page.
Introduce the animals too. What else?
It does seem like it might be prudent.
How rude of me. This glorious beast is Camilton Diaz. I don't think he's ever been this far south.
Name for a camel, anyway.
And this is Edra. Edra, I'm just a caretaker right now. Her owner loves us so much. Gave her these sweet shoes.
The wood elf actually that's standing up on this boulder slightly above you all is going to nod and is going to just lightly tap his staff on the boulder, and certain carvings and runes and inscriptions around it will begin to glow, and they will open their mouth and make some noises in your general direction, and it's rather confusing until Camilton Diaz and Edra begin to make noises back. And after a few moments of back and forth between the elf and the camel and the horse, that's a sentence. The elf sort of nods and looks at you, Lefcadio, and says, "It seems you take good care of your companions, which speaks to your honesty and goodness. I am Yolden Galanadel, Archdruid of Shilmista."
Pleased to make your acquaintance. Perhaps you could say that one more time, just a little slower.
He says, "Of course, Yolden Galanadel, Archdruid of Shilmista."
Got it.
It's like those folks with PhDs that insist you call them doctor. No offense to anyone watching who has a PhD. Also, hi. He says, and this Taslin Evrio, you must understand we had a run-in with others of his kind several months ago and have been rather on edge. Though you all seem the trustworthy sort, it does not bode well or settle my people to see another of his kind pass through our woods.
It still doesn't call for an arrow.
Indeed, it does sting a little.
He seems perfectly fine, and though I understand your concern for your companion, good dwarf, you must understand that the balance of this entire forest was threatened because of those of his blood.
Well, before you shoot, you should ask questions.
We tried. His answers were not satisfactory. All right, Kale, look, Peanut Gallery, you leave Wampum alone.
No, Wampum, it's completely fine. I'm used to this, and think of it like this: next time the Temple of the Seldarine needs saving, I'll just look back at all the wonderful times we've had.
Taslin is just so charismatic that an arrow to the shoulder is like a handshake for him.
Yeah.
So Yolden says, well, I have no idea what that means, but you say that you are here to thwart evil.
Well, on our way, actually, to thwart evil, here we were under the impression everything was hunky dory. Is that not the case? Because we love to help. That's what we do. But we are a bit on our way to someplace else. But like I said, we love to help. There's something going on. Cause
he says, no, not anymore. Everything is hunky-dory, as you say. The Shadarkai came months ago, half a year perhaps at this point, purported to be passing through, curious messengers, couriers, nothing more. But they stayed for some time and began using our sacred sites for dark rituals. Fortunately, we caught them early enough that no real damage was done and chased them south and out of the forest.
Well, good on you.
Well, what is it exactly that you are here to thwart?
We're under the impression it's likely more of the same that we faced back in Waterdeep. As my companion Taslan here alluded to, we were visiting Waterdeep and were made aware of some sort of disturbance with the magical weave that in the Force that ties all the magic together, and it was localized at the Temple of the Celery, and we
Celery.
Right. I said that, and we went down into the basement, and we saw there were these Shadakai who were doing some sort of ritual. They had locked up all the guardian spirits. They are summoning all sorts of terrible creatures. But we were able to stop them all. And as I understand it, the disturbance, the divinity that was being sapped from that temple, those temples, the collective temples, all of them, has returned. So whatever they were doing there, we expect something similar is happening up there. And he points to the southeast. That's what we're here to do.
Perhaps we were more fortunate than I realized in driving off these Shadarkai all those months ago.
I guess it wouldn't hurt for us. I mean, if you have I know that the whole forest is sacred and to be cherished and all that, but if there's a place that's particularly holy, that was what they were interested in. Perhaps we could visit it and pay our respects and just make sure there's nothing wrong with it.
He looks a bit uncomfortable at the suggestion, but he says there was a particular site that they were rather interested in, where they began to attempt their rituals. It is perhaps a day's journey north of here. Ceremonial grounds, things of the sort, but we do not particularly and generally allow outsiders to peruse the wares, as it were. I believe we have things well in hand and under control, though I appreciate your concern and offer of assistance.
All right. Well, like I said, we were just on our way. We don't want to disrupt your day any more than we have. So thank you for the guided tour. And if there isn't anything else, then we'll be on our way.
Wampum walks up to Lefcardio and says, well, since she's one of these powerful type druid people, can't she send us to spirit soaring that much quicker through her plants? Astra.
It's a good thought.
To be honest, for me, the quicker we leave these people, the happier I'm going to be.
Bud, I'm sorry. Before we head off, Archdruid, ship, Yana, the Chosen of Neoliki sent us quite a great distance from Waterdeep all the way here, but she wasn't quite certain where we'd pop out. And we are, like I said, on our way to the Spirit Soaring Temple. I sense your unease with us in your direct vicinity. Would you prefer if you sent us there via some similar method? I don't know if you've been there before. If you can just make us appear there, we'd be quite happy to get out of your hair.
They look thoughtful for a moment, but then say, unfortunately, I myself have never graced the halls of spirit soaring, nor anywhere near it. My entire life has been spent in the Shilmista. The best I could do is send you to the southern reaches of the forest, but even that would require some preparation on my part, and I don't think it likely that I could accomplish it before tomorrow morning at the earliest.
Joy.
So Wampum just continues to ride the way we were headed.
Yeah, I think Tasman joins him.
Off.
Yeah, Tasman's done with these people. He like gives one last look and he's like,
I love it. Does this person have... No, they do not. Okay. Well, it seems, Lefkadio, that your friends have made the decision for you.
Well, I mean, if you guys have everything under control, I mean, like I said, we like to help. But if you guys have it, it seems like you got it locked down. Again, kudos to you. You caught us. Well done. So, well, like I said, we'll just
Those were some spectacularly bad strength saving throws. They say, I wish you the best, Lefkadio Whitehorn. If indeed these are the same Shadarkai that we experienced those months ago, and if they have succeeded in any of their rituals, you may need it.
Well, I appreciate it, and I hold out my hand for a handshake.
Oh. Yeah, all right. You'll get a rather timid one. Blessings of Shilmista upon you, I guess.
Right back at you.
All right, we're going to hop back up to the sky for a moment, because if you two have continued to head south this whole time and you're flying, you've probably made quite a bit more progress than our friends down on the ground have. Anything I should be aware of, Kale and Nos?
So, how long would you say we've been up there? Because the Griffin only lasts 6 hours.
Oh, not nearly that long.
Okay.
I was going to say an hour at most, since last we checked in. Well, I guess 2 hours total, because it was an hour before your friends got captured by the Archdruid, so 2 hours total.
Okay. Yeah, that was the only thing, I guess, right now. Kind of loud up here, a lot of wind, hard to carry on conversation.
Definitely. Definitely. What's the Griffin's flying speed, just for reference?
I think it was 50 feet, but let me double check. Close my sheet. Oh, no.
Oh, disaster.
Everything.
The humanity.
I fixed it because I work in IT, and I know how to type the URL again. Griffin, 80 feet. Wow, jeez.
Oh, shit. Okay, that's going to require more math. Hold, please. Okay, great. Got it. Yeah, you're a goodly ways ahead of the rest of your party in that case. Excellent. All right, well, if there's nothing more I should be aware of in the sky, our eyes on the sky, we will head back down with the other three as they leave the grove where the Archdruid brought them and continue on south.
I remark out loud as I'm proudly marching. I'm sure they didn't have anything of use to tell us. I'm sure so glad that Kale wasn't here, because there's no reason that they would have been in this part of the story.
Is he walking while we're riding?
I really like passive-aggressive Lefkadio.
I'm doing it on the horse. I'm doing this on there. It doesn't make any sense. Edra's head keeps on going back and forth because I got the reins.
Oh, no. Or next time an Archdruid asks her how she's treated, it's not going to go well.
Next time someone fires an arrow at us, we just simply let loose.
No, what? Why would we do that?
Literally everything that just happened proved the opposite.
Tazzin's like, oh.
At some point,
Last time I come here.
just for no reason, Kale will just remark over his shoulder to to Nos, like, I don't think both of us should have left.
Yeah, come to think of it, we're the personable ones.
Right.
Also the healers.
No, Lefkadi's healer.
Lefkadi's
You like some whiskey?
Yeah. Yep. I don't have to drive this thing; it drives itself. So.
Here you go.
Thank you.
The Griffin feels left out, but continues flying. Excellent. I love it. All right. So, traveling for the rest of the day is going to end up being fairly uneventful for those of you on the ground, and you won't really make progress to the point where you're going to see a big change in landscape today. However, the two of you up in the air very well might. So what is, tell me sort of your thoughts and feelings about like how far you're going to go. You know that you're traveling much faster than the folks on the ground. So what's your sort of plan for how far ahead you're going to get, what exactly you're looking for before you turn back, or are you going to turn back, or?
Yeah, I would think after 2 hours I'd probably turn back and start heading. I'd head like into like over to the edge of the forest, like the southeast edge, and then go northwest to see if I can, and then go slowly to the spot.
Right. Yeah, and after half hour, 45 minutes or so, you sort of catch sight of where they've made it to at that point.
Okay. I mean, so in that 4 hours, though, we wouldn't have been able to spot spirit soaring.
Oh yes. So why don't you go ahead and make me another wisdom perception check with advantage. Am I gone?
No, you were for a second, but
okay, great. So. Yeah, wisdom perception check with advantage to sort of triangulate from what you saw earlier.
20.
You don't see the temple itself, but this time you do sort of recognize some of the surrounding area and some of the markers that you saw from your scrying. So you're pretty sure you can head folks in basically the right direction. It's just odds are like the temple itself is screened by various mountain peaks and things, and as close as you got, you couldn't directly see it.
Okay.
And folks in the right direction.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Yeah. Once I get a feel for where it's at, and I'm pretty sure I can get people there, then yeah, I'll head
yeah, definitely. All right. So, excuse me. So, you head back. You find your friends. Taslan is bleeding ever so slightly from his shoulder.
Still, like hours later.
Oh yeah, did I not mention that there was a anticoagulant poison in that? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so that's this first day of travel through the forest, not super eventful after your meetings there.
I share the details of those meetings with
someone
Kale
breathed.
I say, there was these elves. They were, I guess, protecting the area. We met this archdruid named Yolden Galandel. Galanadel is who he was.
Zutite.
Thank you. And he said that there was some Shattekai here a few months back, but they ran him out.
Ran them out to where?
South.
Somewhere.
That's all they said. Okay. I mean, this was after they shot me.
Yeah, Taslan wouldn't have sex with her, so she shot him.
It was quite unfortunate.
For everybody, I'm sure.
I don't think that's what happened exactly, Wampum. Although I might have missed that. I mean, it's possible. I don't think it is.
Taslan is that uncharming. It's hard to tell.
One of us definitely.
That's part of his charm, though.
This is ridiculous. Okay. All right. They were really far away, right? This is
a few hours back.
Ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll file that away, I guess, for later reference.
There's
nothing I could do about it now.
Wampum did have the great idea of asking them to just send us a little bit further along, but they were not familiar with that part of the forest, so we're still on foot.
I'm gonna walk over to Wampum and pat him in the middle of the horned helm and be like, "Good job not pissing off the elves."
I was about ready to throw the blast axe, but I kind of enjoyed watching Tasman get shot.
Reminds me next time there's a Night Walker to just let it kill you.
The truth. Oh shit! I love it. I love it.
All right. I pat the griffin on the head and say good job in Sylvan, and then it turns back into a bronze statue, and I put it in my pack.
Got it.
All right, I guess let's keep going.
One other thing, Caleb, you know how like druids and druid-like folks can talk to animals?
Sure.
I think this particular archdruid spoke with Edra, and Edra gave a glowing review of your time together. So just so you know that you got that going for you.
Okay. Cool. Great. I'll get a carrot out of the bag of holding that I always have a bunch, and I'll just give her one.
Aw. She nibbles it and sort of nuzzles you a little.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sure if she had any complaints, one of the many various times I cast tongues on her, she'll...
It's true. You have had the opportunity for her to voice her complaints, so...
But that's good. I'm glad to know that she's... Anyway,
I love it. Yeah.
Real quick, I've been thinking about this for the past hour that I was up there. I completely forgot because I was drunk. The fact that I had gotten you all something when we were back at Waterdeep.
Yeah.
And I reach into my pack and I pull out it's a raw leather journal, but it's like wrapped 3 times in its own cover. And then when she peels it back, there's a quill inside of it and a spot to put your ink. And then she bundles it back up and gives the raw leather one to Lefkario, pulls out a red one, gives it to Taslin, pulls out a purple one, gives it to Wampum, and pulls out a blue one and gives it to Kale. And it says, beyond this being apparently a spell component, I found these to be generally useful. Now, if you need to remember the Archdruid's name, for instance, you can write it down.
So Kale just kind of tucks the Tome of Denier away and then takes it. And he says, "Thank you very much. It was very thoughtful. How much?" Yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna ask. That's rude.
Yeah.
Shouldn't ask.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Gee, Nos, that's awfully kind of you.
It's been the highlight of my day. You know, besides going to jail and being shot.
You have had a day.
Oh, yes.
Well, look at it this way. It's not over yet.
And it can't possibly get worse.
Timora, I believe that you heard that. Please do what you can to not jinx us. Thank you.
These are like the words of summoning for Bishada, is what that is. All right. So, Kale, another thing that you would have probably been able to get a read on from your flight was that probably on foot, your companions, you all probably have about another day to get to the southeastern edge of the forest, and then if all goes well, it's probably a day after that. Sorry, about half of a day to the edge of the forest, and then if all goes well after that, probably about a day and a half of traipsing up and down the mountains to get to where you're pretty sure Spirit Soaring is within the mountain range, just to sort of give you an idea of the time we're looking at here.
The teleported. So plane shift.
Yeah.
I can cast a plane shift spell. I'm just reading through right now because it's like I don't have to go to I can say I want to go to a specific place, but like I might not actually go there. Is that how it works? All right, I don't want to fuck with that. Okay. I've seen how many times Taslin screwed it up. I'm pretty sure I won't.
It's even more unreliable, but yes.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I'll just share with everybody, like, okay, it's probably going to be another 3.5 days-ish, is what you said?
2 days. 2 days.
2 days.
Half a day to the edge of the forest, day and a half through the mountains.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be another 2 days before we get there. We're going to have to do a lot of climbing through mountains. Wampum, if you know anything about doing that faster, that'd be great. But we can worry about that when we get there.
Forward.
I'm a little concerned about Camilton Diaz, I'm not going to lie.
It's okay. Camilton Diaz already died in the main campaign they were from.
Yeah, and in this one. Also.
And in this one.
None of that makes me feel particularly better, but alright.
If you want to go through the mountain, I will remind you that I do have possession of a very powerful artifact that ought to enable us to do that. If I were to combine myself with it.
What did I forget about?
I have Iron Fang.
Oh, that's right. Oh, fucking hell.
Was Iron Fang like evil or something? I don't know.
A little bit.
It's not the nicest of named artifact weapons, no.
I don't. We need to get there as fast as possible, but I don't think it was super urgent. They said if they drove these Shattered Kai off months ago, I don't know, 1 or 2 more days of siphoning isn't going to make all the difference in the world, I think. You know what? I'll ask. I'll get the bones out, and I'll ritual cast augury if people want to wait 10 minutes.
Yeah. Let me...
While he's doing all this, Wampum is walking around gathering firewood because he believes that he's going to be here for a while.
He might be believing correctly. Huh? Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. All right. So you cast augury. You get the bones. And what is the course of action that you are asking about?
Using Iron Fang to traverse the mountain range.
Whoa!
He'll just like rub his temple. Just,
the bones,
okay.
You toss the bones, and they literally just spell the word "whoa" the way that they fall.
All right, don't do that.
And then they start to jump up and down.
Okay, all right. Run around and try and like stop, like push him. Stop it. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Just don't use that.
As much as I would love to see Nos suddenly have the flaw, I like to break things and cause ruin. I think maybe not.
Nega Nos.
Oh no!
Follow-up question. Why didn't we get rid of that? Why do we still have...
Because I like it. It's mine.
We earned it.
It's fine with me. It's always been fine with me.
Are you sure you didn't attune to it?
I've never attuned to it.
It's very pretty, though.
I have, however, used it to break rocks before.
Casual.
Well, pickaxe, so that's fair. Okay. Well,
Why? Why are you...
It's because it's not... I just asked if it would be a good idea for you to, use it to its full potential, and I got the most negative answer I think I've ever gotten when I asked Daenerys a question.
Oh, okay, you asked Daenerys. Ask Timora. That's different.
Wheeling well.
All right. I'll get out a platinum coin, and I'll just flip it, and I'll say, heads attuned to it, tails don't.
Roll percentile. I'm curious about something. We could have some fun here.
That would be a 2.
It lands right on its edge.
All right. I flick it so that it lands on the sidewards. I forget which ones I specified, but
I did too.
Could we not cast fly on our party and simply fly above the forest to speed things up?
Can you do that?
I have that spell.
Can you cast it on everybody here?
I mean, I could probably cast it numerous. I require concentration, no. I can cast it once and hold it. I believe Lafcadio has cast it before.
Yeah, well, I can cast it on a number of folks, but the duration isn't unlimited, so it only help us a little bit. It'd probably be useful for climbing the mountain, so we wouldn't have to climb it.
Okay. Well, we can get to the edge of the forest by the end of the day today if we stop doing what we're doing right now and not moving. So let's do that, and then we'll just rest, and tomorrow we can figure out how we're going to fly over a mountain.
All right. And continue on through the forest you do. Let me have everybody make either a wisdom survival or an intelligence nature check, please.
The same.
Really?
So 5 survival.
Yeah.
17 survival for Taz.
Lefcadio starts walking backwards. What was that, Taslin?
17 survival.
Okay.
And Wampum got an 11.
Okay. Nos?
5 nature. I lick some stuff. Like this way.
It doesn't. You lick a toad. It's not great. Kale?
18 nature.
Okay, great. All right. So as you continue on, Kale, and who got the 17?
Me.
That's what I thought. All right, Kale and Taslin, you both sort of notice as you continue to walk. It's a vibrant, life-filled forest. You hear birds and occasionally see deer and squirrels and I don't know, maybe a bear. But as you get closer and closer to the edge of the forest, the two of you begin to spot things that seem a little off. The sounds of life don't stop. But for example, Kale, you you see some flowers that are growing sort of at the base of several trees that you recognize should be this beautiful sort of vibrant blue and green color, and they are lovely and clearly they're not dead, they're living and they're thriving, but they are like a midnight blue black color. Extremely dark. Taslin, you catch sight of some birds that sort of burst out of the branches of a tree, and you watch them as they fly by, and a couple of them, as they pass through the shadows of the tree branches, seem to almost jump from shadow to shadow rather than actually flying from place to place. You both just get the feeling that something is affecting the nature here in this part of the forest as you get closer to the edge of the mountains.
Well, that's fantastic.
Do I get any sort of sense of are we getting closer to it? Is it in a certain direction that it gets worse, or is it just kind of permeating?
Continue to get worse the further you get along your trek towards the mountains and towards Spirit Soaring, but beyond that.
So when we were flying over I guess I wouldn't have been really looking that hard.
Yeah, and it's little individual things. It's not like it's like the whole forest is blighted or like there's a big shadow across it's not like that. It's more, at least out here, it's more subtle.
Mm-hmm.
So only now that you're down on the ground and sort of being able to see things up close are you noticing these changes, these differences, whatever it is.
Just something's just kind of off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Kel makes note of that mentally.
Yeah. So you finally reach the edge of the forest, and you can see the Snowflake Mountains, which are no joke mountains, rearing up before you. Kale, basically the general direction that you all need to head in, though you probably, I don't know. If you're going to fly, that's one thing, I suppose. But, if you're going to be climbing, you probably don't want to try and head in a straight line in the direction that you know to go, because that will require scaling some pretty intense peaks. But, live your life. Do you. You do you.
So, I mean, it's pretty late in the day now, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And when we get to the... I mean, so does the forest, like, just stop, and then there's a little bit of space and then mountains, or does the forest kind of go up? There's, like, a tree line on the mountains?
There's a tree, yeah, for sure there's a tree line on the mountains, yeah.
Okay.
And you could see in valleys and such, I mean, some of the peaks get really high, obviously, and are pretty bare of trees and are snow-capped, hence the name. But there are still valleys and lower points within the range where there are, groves of trees and plant life and such.
Okay. I'll suggest to everybody that we go at least up close-ish to the tree line to make camp there, just so that we're up above a lot of stuff. Would be helpful if that's cool with everybody else. You want to push a little bit more?
Sure.
That sounds perfect to me.
Yep. All right, and you can make it up sort of there. It's definitely harder going now that you're on a bit of an incline, but you can get up that far without needing to worry too much and set camp.
Yep. I did not prepare temple today.
Would have been somewhat noticeable anyway, I think.
Yeah, I did not prepare mansion.
All right, we're roughing it.
Guys have to sleep rough.
Oh, this really is the worst day ever.
Wampum will start gathering some firewood.
Okay.
Tussle and Kaler's so upset, and Wampum's like, here we go. All right, so you said, well, some of you said about making camp. The other of you said about complaining about having to make camp. And I think that's where we'll take our little mid-break for a few minutes, and we'll continue on through the mountains when we get back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Thank you for hanging out, waiting on us. We are back with the Half-Rate Heroes. We have traveled through the Shilmista Forest and are now at the foothills of the Snowflake Mountains, heading for Spirit Soaring to see what these nasty Shadarkai are up to up there. And also Taslan and Kale had to sleep rough. For the first time in as long as I have ever DM'd for them. So,
all right, well,
how's that, boys?
In his backstory, Kale used to hike a lot. Like, that was, like, his thing when he was at 14 Mall.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I've done this.
Yeah, and Taslan isn't like the mortal races. He doesn't need sleep. He just finds a comfy place to, like, set his bedroll down, sits down for 4 hours, meditates, and he's good to go.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Excellent. All right. Anything else? Any other amusing tidbits I should know about our night's rest here in this outdoor camp?
Taslan will take the first 2 watches. Hmm? That's a thing.
Wampum snores as loud as he could possibly snore.
Yes! Thank you, Wampum, my hero.
Before everyone turns in for the night, Lafcadio will find Kale.
Not hard to find.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
I have some questions about this Cataly fella.
Sure.
So, like...
Hey, let's go over there.
All right.
Yeah.
So, like, I really try to impress Nabanian, but I really don't know whether or not, to the degree I am successful doing that. I really don't know. I don't have the same kind of relationship with him that you have with Dania, it would seem. Just like some days I can wake up and I have more powers, and I can vaguely remember maybe in the dream that he just told me how to do these things, and I'm supposed to decide what to do with those things. Anyway, I want to, be raised to that level. And when I chatted with Jareth about it, and her relationship with Mayaliki, she said that Mayaliki just there wasn't really a reason that she chose Jareth, and that it makes me think that there's nothing I can do to win the attention that I crave from Nabanian. Do you know about this fellow who built that temple? Was it building the temple that got him his relationship?
Partly. I mean, I think you touched directly on the heart of your issue when you said you craved particular attention. It's serving a god, I think, is more about just having faith in that god, right? It's not a logical thing with an end goal that you can set and try to accomplish. It's just, you have to have faith in your case, your patron, that they will reward your service appropriately as you give it. And at least in my experience, it's not always going to be clear what that God is going to ask of you, right? You just have to have faith, not just in them and what they can do and what maybe they can do for you. It's not a transactional relationship. You have to have faith in yourself, and that you know in your heart that you know what your God wants. Does that make sense?
Well, I feel like I try to live the message that Nabanian, or that at least the pride of Nabanian instilled in all of us. But there are people who pervert all sorts of things in the name of their gods. I think I'm doing the right thing, but Jareth was very upset with, or at least seemed upset. I didn't see a face, but I imagine if I did, it would have not reflected well on me. I made a decision, and I don't know if that decision brought me closer to Nabanian by honoring my friends, or if it brought me farther from Nabanian by betraying the trust of this representative of the Emerald Enclave and chosen of Mialiki. I don't know if I should do something to atone.
Yes, you do. You already know everything that you need to know. You know everything that you need to do. You just have to act on it.
So Lucario is very confused right now.
You're trying to apply logic to a situation that defies it. And I know that sounds odd coming from someone who serves a god of knowledge. But when it comes, like I said, when it comes to service to a deity, or really most things, even philosophers wind up at this junction at some point, because as mortal beings, there's things that are unexplainable to us. There's things that we literally can't perceive about the nature of the universe, right? So at a certain point, no matter how logic driven you are, you have to rely on faith, or else you're just going to be drifting through life just kind of meaninglessly and without anything making any sort of sense. You know what I mean?
Well, I've got the faith. I mean, I think I've got the faith. As far as I know, I've got it. And that's like almost just like a single decision that I've made. So I feel like I should be doing more. And if that Cataly fella, if building the temple was the thing, then that tells me that that's possibly a thing that I could be working towards. That's a goal that I should maybe, be setting. Is that? I mean, am I out of line there?
Your relationship with Nabanyan may be different than mine with Denier, or anyone else's with any other god that they follow. But in my experience, there's no roadmaps to great rewards, and you can't expect rewards. As far as my relationship has been, you don't go into it thinking, if I do this, I'll make them happy, and then they'll reward me. Exactly. You just think, if my God were here right now, what would they do, or what would they want me to do? And then you just have to act on it, because they're not going to tell you necessarily. Most of the time, they got other stuff going on. They're not there watching every single follower of theirs, giving them specific instructions. But if you do this and that, you get the platinum reward level, and that's ridiculous. And I think it's an unhealthy way to think about your relationship with your God. So just like I said, you either have the faith or you don't, and the faith isn't just in the Banyan; it's in yourself, in your conviction to your beliefs in the Banyan's teachings. So you already know everything that you need to do. Whether you think you do or don't, you just have to have faith in yourself. And if Nabanyan rewards it, great. If not, you'll know, and you'll either self-correct, or you'll it's possible you'll be put on the right path by Nabanyan, but don't count on it. Rely on yourself first. If that makes sense. Whatever you think is right, just do it.
It sounds great, Gail. I guess I'm worried that I lack something. I have faith. I know it in my Noah. I know it that I am a servant of Nabanyan, and I am doing his good deeds and his good works, and I know that much. But beyond that, knowing isn't my strong suit. So I guess that's why I'm coming to you. What I'm getting from you is there isn't necessarily an answer, but if going forward, you know what my goal is. If you see me doing something counter to that, or at least that you would think is counter to that, would you mind just giving me an elbow just to help me out? Because, I think I'm doing the right thing for what Nabanyan has chosen me for, but I don't know. Like I said, knowing isn't my thing.
I can't. It seems like you're looking for a really concrete answer, and what I'm telling you is that there isn't one, right?
Yeah.
So you say knowing isn't your thing, but there's nothing to it, right? You just know. Knowing and faith are the same thing, if you're following me, right? If you actually have faith in Nabanyan and in yourself as a servant of Nabanyan, then you also know those things about yourself and about your God. It's not, you can't, there's no equation, there's no list of checkboxes, there's nothing that you can do or that I could impart onto you that would explain everything for you and just lay everything out in a very clear-cut way to let you know if you're on the right path. You either are, you aren't, and you just have to have faith that you are, if that's what you believe in your heart of hearts within yourself.
All right, Kale.
You might benefit more from a talk with Wampa, because I think I've gotten the feeling he's been struggling with something similar for some time now, whether he knows it or not.
It is interesting counsel, and certainly not what I expected to be the outcome of this conversation. But all right, well, I'll let you get to sleep, and it sounds like Wampum's already heading in that direction anyway. So maybe I'll catch up with him tomorrow.
Sure.
Faith and service in a universe where the gods can and regularly do talk back to you is fascinating, and I really didn't want to interrupt that, so thank you, too. That was very interesting. It's a weird thing.
Right? Yeah,
I'm going to continue to ruminate upon it. Anyway, very nice, you two. Take inspiration, the both of you. I liked that a lot.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, Lefcadio. Sweet baby angel.
Sweet cinnamon roll.
Yeah. Very cool. Anything else about this rest? High bar, I know, but can we have another snore, Wampum?
Bringing us back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. So the night passes somewhat uneventfully, though any of you, Taslan, I know you said you were taking the first 2 watches, and anybody who gets up to keep a watch later on in the evening almost certainly catches sight up here in the at the edge of the tree line of more of these strange, mostly creatures, not some. I mean, the plants you've seen as you've gone around, but these strange, sort of creatures that seem very at home in the shadows, whose coloration is much darker than one would normally expect of creatures of their kind, without needing to do a combat, because you all are perfectly capable of taking care of yourselves in the wilds. Like maybe at some point during the evening, like a particularly aggressive squirrel, I don't know, something not terribly threatening, but like oddly aggressive came and approached the camp, and you were able to fight it off. But it was strange and unsettling, because it was just odd behavior for a creature of that sort. Pardon me a moment.
Hate them squirrels.
So, other than that, night passes safely, and the next morning you are awoken. A little bit later. The sun doesn't wake you quite as early as, I don't know if how many of you wake because of the sun, how many of you wake because of a swift kick in the ribs from your party members that were awakened by the sun. But being on the western edge of some mountains, the sun comes up a little bit later. So it's a little bit later in the day when the sun finally is bright enough on your side to wake you up. And it's time to begin traversing the mountains. What's the plan?
Is there a pass?
There is a pass not too far from here that will lead you deeper in. It's not exactly a straight line towards where Kale knows you all need to head, but it would certainly get you some ground with a relatively easily to get you deeper into the mountain range. Yeah.
What are our options for flight?
So we could fly over, or we could find this pass, or as Nos suggested, we could dig a hole through the mountains.
Last resort. So what was the flight like? How long can you guys keep us alighted?
Right. What I can do is I can make 3 people fly at one time, and that will last about 10 minutes. And if my math is right, if we went full tilt, the 3 folks for 10 minutes straight, they could reach a distance or height or combination of the 2 of 6,000 feet traveled. I can't tell how far high that mountain is, so I don't know. If we do that, you probably want to stay really close to the mountains in case it wears out. And
yes,
and
then we also have the risk of these mountains are snow covered, correct?
Yes, at the higher altitudes they are. Yeah. Yep.
So if we do get up there and need to land, there's always the risk of an avalanche or landing on a not safe shelf.
Okay.
I will say, if you all are booking it and taking the dash action over and over and over, you'll need to make con saves, but you could make it as much as 12,000 feet.
Eesh.
Wouldn't it be our... Well, I mean, we have 2 mounts.
So, how about, because it's not a very long amount of time, and that's not very far, really, to go. 6,000 feet's not much. How about we let Wampum try and guide us through the mountains, since he's probably the most experienced of us. And if we come to any sort of impasse that our mounts in particular can't cross, maybe can you make them fly, or does it have to be
I can make them fly.
humanoid people? Okay, yeah, if you can make the mounts fly, then up to 2 of us, I believe, could get on a mount at a time, and then, I don't know, maybe we could squeeze a third on one of them. Or I think Wampum has a mount, right? He's got a horse or
It's
something.
just normal horse, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we could just do that if we come to an impasse, and then we use the 10 minutes of flight to get past that obstacle and then continue.
So the only caveat there is that the creature has to be willing. So.
Okay, that's fine. I don't see why they wouldn't be willing, and I can make sure that they're willing. I guess I can ask them.
And so you said I could ask them. That was so dark. I can make sure they're willing.
Yeah, that's why
That's just Vinny.
Yep, I'm an intimidating guy. What was I gonna say? Oh, I would like to remind everybody, I got everybody these pouches that share the same space, so we can write each other notes, and you don't have to use the sending stones all the time. If we get separated, just check the pouch every once in a while, and there might be a note in there.
Will it go to a corresponding pouch that we specify?
It will show up in everybody's pouches, I believe, until somebody takes
private
it out.
love notes, Taslin.
I immediately do something on my own journal, which is black, by the way, and put it in.
Pouches, yeah.
I
like
stick my hand in my pouch so quick. I'm like, give it. Do I get it? Do I have it?
Yeah, it's so they all share one space, right? So as
What
soon
is
as the note gets put in there, you can grab it.
What do I have?
Oh, you guys are gonna hate me. All right, this is Nos, not me. It is a very crude drawing of a small character that is sticking its butt out, and it has another genitalia coming out of the butt.
Coming out? Oh, okay, got it.
Yep. 10 out of 10.
Memes.
Sorry.
I squint my eyes at Nos.
What does it mean?
It's probably something from Westgate. Just don't worry about it.
It's a raunchy place, Westgate.
I love it.
All right. Yeah. So don't use the sending stones unless it's an emergency, please, because we have the pouches and they work out to like 100 miles as long as we're on the same plane of existence.
I stick my sending stone in that pouch.
Okay. I pluck it out and then I toss it back to him. Well, keep this.
What? I thought this is the new way of communicating.
Use paper in the pouch. Although that does raise an interesting question. If someone else has their pouch open while another person shouts into it, does the sound go into the pouch and out all the rest of them?
No. No.
Oh,
All right.
that's good. That was a
At
good bit.
some point
Catch the rock.
during this adventure, Wampum is going to shit in the pouch.
All right.
Oh, that's a
Tell us
given. Don't tell us when. We'll all be on shit watch. My God. Oh. This is why we can't have nice things.
Right?
So
I spent 400 gold on these fucking pouches, and you're just gonna take a shit.
Look, and let me tell y'all, cleaning an extra dimensional space is a bitch. There are so many nooks and crannies.
let's get a move on.
Yeah.
Daylight's burning, or so they say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're gonna do to get through the mountains. We're gonna do what's that?
A montage?
Of a sort, yes. A montage skill challenge, 4E style-ish, little narrative storytelling thing, because we are not going to narrate every moment of our trek through the mountains. But, so basically the idea is each of you will tell a part of the story of the journey through the mountains. You will make a skill check of your choosing, an ability check of your choosing, based on whatever the part of the story is that you tell us. If we get 5 successes on DC 17 checks before we get 3 failures, you all arrive at your destination unscathed. If there are 3 failures before 5 successes, you still arrive at your destination, because it would be silly to not. But there will be drawbacks and unfortunate events along the way. So sounds like the first thing that you all wanted to do was sort of go through this pass and let Wampum, with his knowledge of mountaineering and stone things, kick you off. So Wampum, do you want to tell us a little bit about the first part of the journey through the pass to get you all deeper into the mountains?
Sure. We start through the pass. Everything's quiet. There's not a lot of noise, not a lot of breeze. But then from probably about 1,000 yards ahead, you hear a loud rumbling sound. And Wampum looks back at the party. Sounds like something let go. So it takes us quite a little bit to get 1,000 yards. And we notice that there has been a small avalanche of stone. And there are trees and boulders and rocks blocking the path.
Yeah, which, I mean, the mountains are old, and let's be honest, y'all weren't being the most quiet, and shit happens. So there you are, you all, find yourselves sort of at this, right in the middle of the pass, this big old rock fall. Wampum, I'll say, you all can sort of decide to try and clear a path through. You can decide to try and climb over it. Though there are obvious dangers to both of those things, because you're not sure how stable the rockfall is. You can try and find a way around to find another way deeper into the pass. You've got several options, and at this point, Wampum, what seems to your dwarven sensibilities the best bet?
Wampum just makes a grunt and says, "Well, we got some work," and starts to climb through the boulders.
I love that. Go ahead, and so your check for your part of the story then will be a strength athletics check. Do the thing for us, Wampum.
Okay. 17.
Oh, perfect. So it's somewhat nerve-wracking going. Wampum gets up there and begins to climb up, and you all sort of follow suit, trying very carefully to sort of stay generally in the path that he's making, to be sure that everything is solid and secure as you go up. A couple of times, the rocks shift, some of them fall, you all sort of slide back down a ways, maybe get a couple of smaller stones bonking you on the head, as those of you further up in the line tear loose some loose stones that fall upon the ones below. But overall, though it might be harrowing and somewhat exhausting, you all manage to get over the rockfall to the other side and can continue through the pass that you'd originally planned. Well done, Wampum. Who wants to tell us about the next part of the travel through? Yeah, Nos.
Okay, so we keep going up this one part, and it gets narrower and narrower and narrower, and we're like, oh, is this gonna get us all the way through? There's only at one point there is only maybe, I want to say, 2 to 3 feet, give or take, a ledge around, very Lord of the Rings style, and we get to a sheer escarpment where there is nowhere else to go other than forwards or backwards, and lo and behold, there's a bunch of goats blocking our path. Friggin' goats. So I will at this point be like, hang on, Wampum, I got this. And then I'm going to just be like crawling over him and like, oh, sorry, excuse me. And then I'm going to get to the other side and then taking a big deep breath, and then this sound emanates from my diaphragm that is absolutely inhuman. It is the cross between a bear and a lion and a human. It is something that only a hobgoblin can do. And I would like to intimidate the goats to get the fuck out.
Absolutely. I love this. Those mountain goats, they mean.
Thank goodness. Thank Timora that they weren't giant mountain goats. That's all.
That's right.
Yeah. That is a 16. I'm a little blinded.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was so. You absolutely, you've scared off animals that were in the way before. This sound should have worked. But as you sort of bellow out and the goats sort of flick their ears in your direction and don't immediately move, you get a closer look at them and you realize that these goats, much like many of the animals out in the Shumista forest as you got closer, seem to be shadow touched in some way. They are darker. Their eyes are sort of black pools. They are very clearly sort of sticking to this area of the pass because it's well shaded from the sun. They're avoiding getting out in direct sunlight too much. And though they haven't sort of come after you to attack you, they clearly are somewhat more aggressive and less easily frightened than normal mountain goats, which are no joke to begin with. And so you're sort of forced to, I don't know. You tell me how you get through them, because you will get past this point in some way. So how does that end up happening in a less than ideal fashion, Nas?
I pull out the spike chain. I'm not going to attune to it.
There it is.
I am going to attempt to dig its spikes into every single one of those goats in a line, and then yank them off the mountain.
It's bloody. It's kind of horrible. But the path is cleared. You've got some bruises from some angry mountain goat horns ramming into you as you unceremoniously toss them off the pass. But in the end, you do in fact clear the way, and you all are able to continue deeper on into the mountains. All right, what happens next? Go ahead.
So, after we got off this ledge that we were so unceremoniously blocked by mountain goats, we come to a stop in the clear defined path, and there's no path to really be found. Or maybe it wasn't well traveled, and we can't really discern which way would be the correct path, and I want to use investigation to... Tasman will kind of look around and kind of investigate the layout to find the correct route that leads up.
Great. Tell me more specifically what you're looking for to justify that this is not a survival check but an investigation.
Yeah, so Tasman is looking for any remnants of posts, any knickknacks or things that may have been lost on this path to just say, of course, people traveled this way, so obviously.
So maybe things specifically that pilgrims to spirit soaring might have had on them. Yeah. Great, I love that. Great, do the thing.
Okay. That's a 22.
All right, and you do in fact find... oops, nope, that was a success, not a fail. There we go. You do in fact find several little trinkets. They're not holy symbols, but they're little... of various, a single eye with a lit candle. There are a couple of scrolls. There's another symbol of Ogma that I like, and I can't think of what it is right now. But you see little pilgrim bric-a-brac that sort of leads you down what is, as you look at it, you realize it's probably the safest, if not the quickest way. Because this whole time I'm sort of assuming that Kale is keeping you all generally oriented in the correct direction, even as you might have to take detours around. So it's definitely not the quickest way, but it does seem to be the safest way, which makes sense for basic pilgrims to this site. A lot of them, you notice, have been here, sort of obviously have been here for a very long time. These were not dropped within the last 10 day or anything like that, for sure.
Are the scrolls still holding up?
They're little they're wooden coins with a scroll carved into them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll point them out to Kale as we walk by.
Cool. I would leave them where they're supposed to be.
All right, so we follow the bric-a-brac for a while until you're securely back on, if not a trail, at least a path of some sort. What happens next? Lefcadio or Kale?
I will, after the avalanche and the goat yelling and then the goat tossing, I'll remind everyone that we might be approaching hostile people, elves, things, undead, bad things. So we probably want to keep more of a low profile. So I will start with my, feline agility, and just take light steps, and every now and then just point at spots for folks to walk, just to make it so it's less noisy as we traverse.
Yeah, you're definitely getting closer, so it seems like a prudent precaution.
So I would like to make a stealth stealth check, if I may.
Absolutely. Yeah, love that. Helping your party find the places to stand. Are any of you wearing big ol' armor? And by that I mean disadvantage on stealth checks armor.
Well,
yeah, so
I am wearing heavy armor, but I do have boots of Elvenkind.
Oh, there you go. So you remind Wampum to activate those. You maybe stuff some cloth in the noisier parts of the armor, things like that.
I too have boots of Elvenkind, so that's a
Great.
22.
Hey, that'll do. All right. So your approach perhaps slows a little bit as you know you're getting closer, but you're able to make the approach quite quietly. And with the wind whipping through the passes, it mostly covers the sounds of your approach as you get a bit closer. So speaking of getting a bit closer, Kale, what happens next?
So we find eventually we get to another pass, and it kind of comes up into like it opens up for a bit. Like in mountain passes, is usually like space. It's not super narrow. So we're up there, and there's like this really nice lake, and there's a bunch of just like little rocks, like moss everywhere, and you can see like the beginning, like the source of a river up there. And Kale's like, "Oh man, that's so cool! And see the source of a river. That's awesome." Then they keep going, and we get to the end of the pass, and it kind of starts getting narrow again, back to where there would be a path if there is one at all. And there are 3 boulders in the way, just 3, like, it looks like intentionally placed boulders, like pretty big ones, just blocking the passage. And Kale walks up to investigate, and one of the boulders opens its eyes, and a mouth and a face show up, and it turns out it's a Galeb Dur that was summoned at some point by like a druid to guard this pass for a reason it's forgotten. So Kale, knowing how to speak Terran, he channels his divinity to make himself proficient in persuasion and tries to persuade the Galeb Dur to let them pass safely.
Yeah, I love that. But yeah, absolutely. Not the most personable of creatures, the Galeb Dur, but you turn on the charm of Denier, and how's it go?
Good thing I did that, because that gave me another 5 on top of the 4, so that would be 20 total.
Wait.
So I have a +4 normally, and then I get +5 because I gave him some proficiency.
Oh, I thought you meant it was 5 on top of the 4 that you rolled, and I was like,
no,
I know
I rolled an 11.
But how does one get?
Just
All
don't
right.
ask.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't. You've never been wrong. I was just very curious. Yeah, so the Galeb Dur sure tells you a few things. That it was, summoned here to guard this pass long ago, when the cult of Talona was waging its war against the Edificant Library, and the forces not only of the library but of the Shilmista Forest gathered to try and repel the Chaos Curse. Some druids realized that this pass in particular was sort of an easy way to access the library, or to get closer to the library, and so they bade these earth elementals to remain here and guard the pass. But clearly you are not of Talona and her ilk. And so there is no problem letting you pass and head on toward the Edificant Library, as they still call it.
Sweet.
All right, we've got 4 and 1, so we do need one more. Well, in theory, we need one more success. We'll see if that takes just one more. You've all had a turn now, so anyone who wants to take the next part of the story until it looks like people are moving again, and they're moving again. We have 4 successes and 1 failure, so we need one. We need one more success. You've all taken a turn at telling the story now, so anyone who wants to take the reins for the next bit of the travel is welcome. Oh, but not all at once. You know we can understand you when you talk over each other.
Okay. We get to the end of the pass.
Uh-huh.
And we're feeling comfortable. We know it's close. But there comes a boulder out of the blue. It bounces right next to us. And we turn, and there is a pair of hill giants out for their,
Shit, this got real.
They're on a hunting mission. And we come across a pair of hill giants. Roll for initiative.
Oh, shit. Yeah, and they are as surprised to see you as you all are to see them, I think. So, at this point, it's only two of them. They're just hill giants. You all are powerful adventurers. You could certainly dispatch them if you wanted, but it would take some time. It probably wouldn't be quiet, and you don't know what you're going to be up against once you arrive at Spirit Soaring, and it would definitely sap some of your resources. Certainly not all of them, but some of them. So you certainly could do combat with them and try and take them out. You could try and find another way to get around them. What are we thinking?
Wampum is drawing his axe.
Of course he is. Of course.
He's got bright eyes and smiling.
He's so ready.
I don't speak giant.
I can banish them for like a minute, and we just run away.
No, let me try something. Hill giants are stupid. I will. I'll ride forward on Edra, and I'll cast tongues on myself so that I can speak to the giants.
Okay.
And I'll cast thaumaturgy on myself to make my eyes glow, I don't know, red, and make my voice really loud, obviously.
Okay.
And I will I guess how much would I know about giants? Could do a history check to see if I know about the ordning. Okay, I rolled an 18 plus 16
yes.
is a lot. So,
God's on Celestia, whatever.
I will shout. I'll shout the name of some famous fucking a storm giant or something, some storm giant king. I'll invoke their name. Hecaton. Yes.
There you go. You made that easy for me. If you'd picked any other kind of giant, I would have been screwed, but happened to have one of those in the back pocket, so.
I'll tell them, Hecaton commands that you leave this group be. Find food somewhere else, you filthy beasts.
I love it. I'm going to say with Wampum's very threatening axe pulled, whichever one of you wants to make the, we're going to call it charisma deception, because obviously Hecaton did not send you, and we've already done an intimidation check, so let's keep it fresh. So whichever one of you wants to do that can make it with advantage.
Deception's all you.
Okay. It's not really, but okay.
Know thy strength.
Oh, wow. 13.
Oh, all right. So Wampum gets his wish. They don't believe that Hecaton would have sent such tiny morsels to command them, and so a fight breaks out. Like I said, you all don't have a problem dispatching them, but we'll see depending on how this next check goes. We're really down to the wire here. Depending on how this next check goes, certain and some resources may have been expended in the defeat of the hill giants. Okay, so you are very close now. Kale, you see a lot of really familiar formations in the rocks and in the mountains, and you know that you're getting quite close. And so, as you begin your final approach towards the vale in which Spirit Soaring sits, we need one more little story point. Who wants to give it to us?
I could do one, I guess.
All right.
I feel like I've talked a lot, but I'll do some more. So we're getting really close to the thing, right? And we're kind of within a narrow pass, and we get to a point just to go ahead and rip something off from famous fantasy stories. We come to a door, and in Sylvan. It says "say the password" or something, or it's not that. It's a bunch of like weird arcane symbols all over the door, right? And I'm not sure what it does, but I'm pretty sure we have to go in this direction to get through the final stretch to get to where we're trying to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I will employ my knowledge of Arcana to try and figure out what the hell we have to do to this door.
All right.
That would be a 29.
You have to shit in an interdimensional space.
Hey!
Well,
I love it. No, it's not rip it off too closely, so it's not going to be speak the password. It's going to be, there's a series of glyphs that one has to touch with various,
It's like Simon Says.
There you go. It's like a Simon Says. It's like an element. Oh no! It's like that. It's like that door on Morty's tower in Curse of Strahd. You have to like do a dance in front of it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
To get it. You have to vogue a little. Great, you do, and it opens, and through you head through this pass through a tunnel. Excuse me, and part of this little, like I said, this veil, this depression. Oh, hello. So out you come. You can see that you're sort of at the top end of this veil, this depression, that's quite green around the edges. There's several trees, there's grass, there's plant life and such. And in the center is this enormous, beautiful, incredibly built building that, Kale, you saw when you scryed, but the rest of you are seeing, I believe, for the first time. It is full of impossible soaring buttresses and archways and just towers and all kinds of things. And it all looks to have been sort of almost as if it was grown from the stone of this place rather than built brick by brick or stone by stone. Let me have wisdom perception checks from everyone, please.
25, nat 20.
Yes, there it is. All right.
26 for Wampum.
Oh,
10 for Taslin.
11.
11, all right. And Nos.
Oh yeah, I also got a 20. Nat 20.
Ooh, all right. Okay. So Nos, Wampum, and Lefcadio, you notice a couple of things pretty straight away. It is dark in this vale, which makes sense. It's, surrounded. It's a little valley. It's surrounded by mountains, but it doesn't seem to fully cover why it is as dark as it is. And it's not pitch black. You can still see. It's fine. But it just, there's a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Not a pall, but it's a little shadowier than it should be down here. Except that the three of you notice that there are a few little sort of pinpricks of purplish, bluish light sort of surrounding the building of Spirit Soaring at regular intervals. And you each notice that there is some movement around each of these little pinpricks of light, though you can't quite, from your distance and your vantage point here, you can't quite figure out exactly what it is or who it is that's moving around these lights. But there are definitely things around each of them. You also see that somewhere sort of in the center of this temple structure is a similar but larger looking purplish bluish light emanating from there.
Wampum walks up beside Kale. Elf, you getting the feeling that we might be in the Shadowfell? Or would the Shadowfell be here?
Kale just looks at Taslin, since he's from there. Says, "You think is this feeling like home right now, or?"
I'm assuming some sort of check would be involved.
Muted, sorry. Yeah, why don't you make me... Let's call it Intelligence Arcana.
Alright, a 16.
Yes, not particularly strongly. You're not in the Shadowfell, and you aren't... it's not like there's a tear in the veil between the planes here, but there is definitely a thinning. There is, I mean, this all sort of comes together with the creatures that you saw on the way up, and then everything that's here. There is definitely what do they call it in Eberron when the planes overlap? A conjunction of the planes here to some extent. It's not super severe, but yes.
Well, the good news, Wampum, is we're not in the Shadowfell.
Thank God.
Bad news is that there is a conjunction of the planes, and the difference between the planes is thinning.
Speak dwarf so I can understand you.
You have a sandwich, and I shave a little bit of the bread in between the cheese off on both sides. Now you have less bread.
Okay.
And I repeat that explanation, but in Dwarvish.
That was quite good, Taslin, I have to say. that was quite good.
It came out really quick.
It did. You were just there on it too. I was like, "What? Oh,
I knew I was going to get asked that. Was the next question. I'm working on that one for a while.
It was very good. It was very good.
So
as pretty as this place is, we need to stop wasting time. We've wasted enough time getting here. Let's look for a vortex.
And we need to assume it's guarded. Give me one moment while I summon the reinforcements, if you will.
Oh boy.
Sure. While he does that, though, I'm going to look around.
It's okay. I'm not getting Gerald. I'm just summoning 4 skeletons.
I figured.
I elbow Nos, and I've seen her do this before. So I point at my eyes, and then I point at those sparkly things, and I'm like,
Yes, I see them. What do you want me to do with them? You want to poke them?
I don't know. I thought that's what we do when we saw things.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to reach out with my glaive and just gently kind of apply some pressure. See if that's a material or not.
To one of the lights?
Yeah.
Oh, they're a little ways off in the distance. Y'all could certainly approach them, but they're a little ways off in the distance because you saw folks sort of walking around them.
Okay, yeah, me and Lefcadio will approach them.
Okay, great. So as you approach them, Lefcadio, since this was part of your Through the Mountains storytelling, I will bring up this question. Otherwise, I would have just let things happen. But since you seem to have stealth on the brain at the moment, as you approach these things, knowing that you saw figures moving about them, is there any attempt at a quiet approach?
Absolutely. That's why I was doing the hand things.
I see. All right. Let me have dexterity stealth checks from you and Nos if you would like to participate in that as well.
27!
Hey!
19.
All right. Holds, please. There it is. Okay, great. Right. So... You approach one of these things that's sort of in the middle of or just on the other side of a couple of trees, so you're able to sort of get relatively close, probably within about 30, 40 feet, and sort of hide behind the trees to take a closer look. And what you see is a sort of black metal stand built or constructed and sort of put on the ground in this area, and hovering above it is a large, it's probably 2 to 3 feet long, large purple-black crystal that is sort of hovering there above this black stand. That's what the light is coming from. The blue-purple light is coming from. And around it, sort of clearly guarding it, like keeping an eye on it, performing various patrols, I'll take either intelligence nature or intelligence arcana checks from the two of you to identify some of these odd-looking creatures.
9.
Okay.
Nat 20!
Another one! What? Yes.
Are paying attention.
you paid attention today on this day in biology, are the planar biology, are these creatures called measles. They're not wow, when you say it out loud, it's a really goofy name. They're not particularly dangerous individually, although there are about 6 of them standing guard around this this crystal. They are creatures of the Shadowfell. They are hateful, usually solitary creatures, so it's a bit odd to see them in a group like this, working towards a single purpose. But they're quite stealthy, they're quite good at hiding, and they're quite hateful little creatures. You also see standing directly next to, sort of on either side of the crystal, are 2 Shadarkai, who... which ones are these? Who carry very familiar-looking spiked chains. And they also seem to be sort of guarding the crystal, although much more sort of directly. Like, clearly the measles are sort of the outer line of meat shield defense, but the Shadow Dancers are there right at the side of the crystal to ensure that anything that gets through the measles doesn't get through them.
All right, I'll look over to Lefkadio and be like, backtrack. Rejoin with the party.
With the other 3. And the other 3 of you, what have you been doing during this little scouting mission by your 2 companions?
Wampum is going to attune to the chains.
Okay.
Oh.
That'll take the better part of an hour, which is totally fine. But that's what Wampum is sitting down, and he's just holding these chains, lovingly staring at them. Excellent. Kale and Tazlin?
Tazlin will summon the 4 Skelly Boys, and then he has 59 more minutes until Wampum finishes that. Kind of. Man, at this point, I might as well go get Gerald. But I won't.
But you won't.
I won't. So I guess he's going to just kind of observe the temple, see if there are any vantage points that we could get the drop on the Shadarkai or whoever's down there.
Okay. I'll take intelligence investigation to see if there's anything you can come up with from up here. Meanwhile, Kale, anything?
Kale doesn't really feel like dicking around a whole lot. So he is just going to go ahead and get some of his magic mushroom ointment out and dab his eyes and cast True Seeing.
Yes. Okay.
15 for investigation.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean... trying to think if there is a particularly good approach for you, Tazlin, but they seem to have actually laid these out pretty well. Here's what I'll say you figure out, is that the crystals are far enough apart from each other that getting between them, will take a few seconds of flat-out running. But they're all positioned, they're not in a perfect circle around Spirit Soaring. They're all clearly positioned from what you can see in such a way that any given crystal has line of sight to the crystal on either side of it, presumably so that if something went down, others would be aware. They all have... there's trees and stuff around, so there are places that you can hide to approach, like your companions did relatively stealthily, but beyond that, not much. Okay? All right, so Nos and Lefkadio, you return. Wampum is staring at the chain. The Scaly Boys are back. Anything to report?
I'm just gonna lean down to Wampum. I know he can't respond to me right now, but I'm just going to whisper, those are of the Shadowfell, the place that you really hate. Just saying.
Just to torment him.
And Wampum just giggles.
He knows. Okay. Are we out of earshot?
Yeah.
Okay. We've got the chain spike Shadarkai guarding crystals, which are what those glittery things are. And there's a bunch of small, vicious, cannon fodder critters just kind of hanging around before them. So we are in for a fight.
Cool. How far away is
up.
all that?
Probably you all went maybe a couple 100 feet to the closest crystal.
Okay.
100 feet from here, which means 100 feet radius.
I would like to get that close, but let me make sure that I do want to do that. Hey, Lafcadio, can you help me, maybe assist me in teaching me the ways of your stealthiness to get me within like 120 feet of one of those crystals, hypothetically?
If you need, I can cast greater invisibility on you.
You're the worst.
No, save your energy.
Sure thing, mate. Just follow me.
Awesome. Can he give me advantage? Is that cool? Like helping me?
I thought you had a cloak.
I'm not attuned to it. I'm wearing it, but I'm not.
Got it.
It's very decorative. Sure. You're not in a hurry, so it's not like you're trying to. So sure.
I rolled a 2 and a 5.
I'm like, nice.
I feel like
What
I
is
rolled
that
worse
adjusted?
when I have advantage. Adjusted, it's an 8.
Okay.
Kale. Damn it.
Oh. We gave you every possibility. So you get to the tree line, and just as you sort of get within view, you step on just the loudest, driest twig that exists. Well, not the loudest, that would have been a 1, but close. And heads snap in your direction. The measles begin to sort of salivate and chitter. You happen to notice, Kale, that there are a couple of those invisible creatures from the catacombs, the skulks. There's only 2 of them, but they do seem to also be guarding this crystal, and they have seen you, and that's not great. And we're going to find out how that goes next week. So I know we're dropping out a little bit early today, but I am a little bit under the weather and also probably should go see my family. So we're gonna cut that a little bit short today. Thanks everybody for hanging out. That was also like a brilliant cliffhanger point. So thanks for that, Vinny. Thanks for rolling like absolute monster terrible. Cool. Let's go around and let us know who you are, where we can find you on social media if that is of interest to you, and one of your particularly fond moments from today's game. Let's start with Graham.
Oh man, I was hoping you wouldn't start with me. My name is Graham Crackers. I play Tazlin, your friendly neighborhood necromancer shadow guy. If you like more of me, you can see me on Fridays from 8 to 10:30 on Twitch TV/Nairoki. You can also find me at Crituitous RP on Sundays, right from 8 to 10:30. I don't remember. I mean 6 to 9. And look forward to seeing you there. My favorite part was every part that I didn't get shot with an arrow. I think it was
Really low bar for
Lafcadio being passive aggressive as they walked away. He's like, "Yeah, I was totally on your side with this."
I love that. Casey.
May I humbly request to go last because I have written down a list of things that I have enjoyed today, and I just want to make sure that I catch all the ones that are not said.
Sure. John, we'll go to you then.
Hey guys, I am John. I am playing Wampum Thunderbelly, your dwarven battle master. There was like Casey saying, there were several parts I really liked tonight. There was a lot of role play that was really nice. But I have to go back to when Tazlin pissed off the elf and got his ass shot.
Yeah, agreed. I love it. Vinny.
My name's Vinny. Indolent Scuzz on Twitter. I true to my name on there. I don't post much because I'm indolent. After the game on Sundays every night, or once every week, I post a thing, some sort of short story, usually D&D related, on scuzz.rip, scuzz.rip. It's a real website, I assure you. Check that out if you want, or don't, whatever. My favorite part of today's game, honestly, the skill challenge. I've never actually done one or really run one in that way in a game, and I really liked that you put it on the players to tell a part of the story. That was great.
Yeah, you guys did a great job. It's a different way to do it, and I normally try and give you all a heads up before I do it when I do it with a new group. But y'all did great anyway, so thank you for that. Carl.
Hi, I'm Carl. I played Lefcadia Whitehorn. I also play Pelea de Winter on this same channel Tuesday nights from 9 to 11 Eastern. That's a game I play with Casey. So if you like either one of us, you can get more if you want. You could also get more of us at Gen Con, because that's where we're going to be in a few weeks. Tonight, I enjoyed and was impressed by Vinny's, Kale's, off the top of his head, philosophical responses to the questions that have no answers. I thought he played an excellent 20 wisdom, 20 intelligence cleric of God of Knowledge. And it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that little conversation. I should mention before we get to Casey also that though I adapted it in my own way, the idea for that skill challenge came from a fun article by James Hake on D&D Beyond. So search through their archives. He's a smart dude and a good friend, and so you should read his stuff because that's where I got that idea from. All right, Casey.
You're friends with James Hake? That's awesome. I'm 1 degree separation.
He and Hannah are good folks that I can't wait to see again.
Tell him I love his stuff.
I will. They will not be at Gen Con, unfortunately, but I'll see them in Seattle in a few months.
Awesome. I'm Casey H on social media, and I have been your champion of Timor and Impaler of Plains, Heckler, Big Fire Chicken, She Would Fight the Storm, and Yeater of Goat Shades. Awesome, never winner. I can also be found on Tuesday evenings with Carl on this channel, but also I can also be found on the Greyhawk channel. You can go to them when they're offline at any time. The shows that I'm on is The Old Faith on Fridays and Tuesday mornings, City of the Gods. This Tuesday morning, we are going to be doing a one-shot that's kind of like a monster Suicide Squad thing, which I am the Rick Flag of, so we'll see how that goes. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I just love the group. I love how intermeshed we are at this point. We are true companions. But specifically, I really loved the how everyone just kind of took it and ran with that skill challenge. I've done skill challenges before, and it is very much just mechanical. You can't repeat this other person's save, roll the thing, done and done. I loved it when you handed it over to us and actually was like, you guys write the story. That's what set us off right there. So that's all your fault, and I love you for it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beyond that, I loved everybody's reactions to Dick Butt. That's what it was. Thank you for not throwing me off the show immediately. Vinny's inclusion of the Galeb door was really heckin' cool. That was a throwback for sure. That made me feel very... That made me feel very nostalgic for 3.5, which I've played once, but enjoyed greatly. And then I also want to say thank you to chat for always being there for us.
Always. So great. I'm sorry I wasn't there this time, but yeah.
I love you guys so much. You don't even know. I wanted to say I might have gone and bought your book, Judy.
Yay!
It's a novella called Cabinet of Aberrations. It is available on Amazon on paperback. If you like it, it's like $10. It's very, very cheap. It's a little novella, and it is incredibly enticing. I've only gotten through maybe the first couple of pages, but all of it is hook. Like literally 100% of it is hook. So I can't wait to lay on my hammock in the backyard and read the rest of it. So thank you.
That's so exciting. Fantastic. Well, I'm Eugenio, also known as your friendly neighborhood Dungeon Master DM, Jazzy Hands. Gosh, there were so many good moments today. I also really enjoyed the skill challenge, and you all did some great sort of narrative storytelling and really took that and ran with it. There was another moment. Oh, I just sort of loved getting to, if extremely briefly, play an Archdruid and talk to your mounts privately for a moment. That made me happy. Particularly Hamilton Diaz, since I don't think you usually cast tongues on her. So that was super fun. You can find me on Twitter at DMJazzyHands. I am the Dungeon Master for the Actual Play podcast, The Last Refuge. We just had our 2-year anniversary last Wednesday. It was very exciting, very dramatic. Moderate spoiler, like the party's not in good shape, and one of the players seems to have lost the
connection to the internet.
Actually, have the same that Kale worships. Same god that Kale worships. So it's all very exciting. You should check us out. You can follow us on Twitter at DND Last Refuge. And yeah, normally you can find me on Mondays in a couple of different places, but since I am out of town visiting family in another country, I will not be playing either of my games tomorrow, but I will be back on the streams on Friday on Encounter Roleplay on Basilica of Cudgel as a player, so you can find me there then. And I think that is it. I'm going to go lie down and spend time with family in a horizontal position so that I might kick this moderate illness that I have contracted. You're all lovely. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you all for playing. It was a great session. I can't wait to find out how this little assault goes next week. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Happy gaming, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.